Before the stage lights even warmed up, before a single note was sung, something in the air already felt different. You know that feeling when you're scrolling, about to skip, and suddenly your thumb freezes because your heart whispers, "Wait, watch this?" That's exactly where this story begins. And before we go any further, if stories that touch the soul, reveal hidden talent, and remind you why music matters still mean something to you, pause for just 1 second, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. What you're about to experience isn't just a performance. It's a journey. Backstage stood a Filipino boy named Miguel, small in frame, barely tall enough to peer over the edge of the registration table. He was 12 years old, with neatly combed black hair that refused to stay perfect, no matter how many times his mother smoothed it down. His shirt was simple, his shoes slightly worn, and his hands trembled as he held a folded piece of paper with a single word written on it, Anak. Not because he didn't know the song, but because he knew what it meant. In Tagalog, Anak means child, and for Miguel, it was more than music. It was his life. Miguel grew up in a narrow alley in Manila where houses leaned into each other like tired old friends. His father had once dreamed of becoming a musician, too, but dreams don't always survive responsibility. When Miguel was 7, his father left for overseas work, promising it was only temporary. Years passed, calls grew shorter, and eventually, silence took over. Miguel's mother worked long hours sewing clothes for neighbors, her fingers cracked and sore, but her smile never faded in front of her son. Every night, when the city noise softened, she would hum Anak while folding laundry, her voice gentle, full of love and regret. Miguel listened. He remembered. He learned and music became Miguel's hiding place. When kids teased him for his quiet nature, he sang to himself. When food was scarce, he sang. When his mother cried quietly at night, thinking he was asleep, he sang silently in his heart. He didn't sing to be famous. He sang to survive. And now, standing backstage on one of the biggest talent shows in the world, his knees shook as fear tried to pull him backward. A stage assistant knelt in front of him and asked if he was ready. Miguel nodded, though his throat felt tight. He thought of his mother sitting somewhere far away, watching on a borrowed television, hands clasped together, whispering prayers. He thought of his father, wherever he might be. And he thought of that word, Anak. Child. Son. Hope. When Miguel stepped onto the stage, the lights felt blinding. The audience saw a small boy with shy eyes and an unsure smile. Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, curious but guarded, as he had seen thousands before. The judges asked Miguel his name, his age, where he was from. His voice trembled as he answered, but when asked what he would sing, something changed. His back straightened just a little. Anak, he said softly. The music began, slow and gentle. Miguel closed his eyes. And then he sang, and the first note didn't explode, it whispered. But it carried something heavy, something real. His voice wasn't polished like a trained professional, yet it was honest, raw, and aching with emotion. Each lyric felt like a letter written to a parent, to a child, to anyone who had ever loved and lost. The audience leaned forward without realizing it. Conversations stopped. Phones lowered. Time slowed. As Miguel sang about a child growing up, about parents sacrificing silently, his voice cracked, not from weakness, but from truth. He wasn't performing. He was remembering. He was forgiving. He was thanking his mother for every unspoken sacrifice. And somewhere in the middle of the song, something unexpected happened. Simon Cowell, known for his sharp critiques and iron composure, shifted in his seat. His eyes softened. His jaw tightened. He looked away for a moment, then back again, as if trying to steady himself. Miguel reached the final chorus, his small hands clenched into fists, pouring everything he had into the last notes. When the music faded, there was silence. Not the awkward kind, but the kind that follows something sacred. Then the room erupted. The audience stood. Some were crying openly. The judges looked stunned. Simon didn't speak right away. He cleared his throat, leaned forward, and for a brief second, the world saw him not as a judge, but as a human being. "I've heard this song before," he said quietly, "but I've never felt it like that." His voice broke. "You didn't just sing, you told a story. And I couldn't hold back." Then it happened. The golden buzzer was pressed, gold confetti rained down as Miguel covered his face in disbelief. His knees buckled, and he dropped to the stage, overwhelmed by a moment bigger than anything he had ever imagined. Back in Manila, his mother cried out his name, tears streaming down her face as neighbors gathered around her, cheering as if he were their own child. But this wasn't the end of Miguel's story. It was the beginning. Because beyond the lights, the fame, and the applause, the true victory was something deeper. A boy who once sang to survive had learned that his voice could heal others. A song written decades ago found new life through a child who understood its meaning better than anyone else. As Miguel walked off the stage, wrapped in hugs and praise, he carried something more powerful than a golden buzzer. He carried proof that talent doesn't come from comfort, that emotion is stronger than perfection, and that even the smallest voice can move the hardest heart. And maybe that's why this story matters. Because somewhere out there, someone is watching this video feeling invisible, unheard, or forgotten. Let Miguel's journey remind you that your story has value, your voice has power, and your moment can come when you least expect it. If this story touched you, if it made you feel something real, don't just move on. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, all it takes is one song, one child, and one honest moment to change everything.